Hello and welcome to another episode of 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe. My name is Mike van Acker. I run trivia shows both in pubs and clubs and on this podcast, and I'm very glad you're here. Let's play. Question 1. In human biology, what name is given to the cord of nerve tissue that connects the brain to the nerves in the body? That'd be your spinal cord. Pretty important. Question 2. Which colloquial term meaning to be working a second job was also the name of a 1980s TV series starring Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd? That's Moonlighting, and that's the TV show that made Bruce Willis a megastar. Question 3. Cessna is an American-owned brand that manufacture what? What is a Cessna? It's a small passenger plane. They first made them in 1927, where a guy called Clyde Cessna, Clyde was a farmer, built his own plane. As you do. Decades later, the Cessna 172 became one of the most successful planes of all time. More of those planes have been made than any other aircraft ever. There's a useless fact for you. You're welcome. Question 4 is always a true or false in this podcast. Today is no different. True or false? There are 121 holes on a Chinese checkerboard. That's true. The 121 holes are basically shaped like half of a marble. So the marbly type thing goes and sits in that hole, if you follow where I've drifted. Good. Question 5. We're looking for an R word. It's a term used sometimes in maths, meaning to happen, to come up or show repeatedly, and can also be the term given for a character that appears more than once in a TV show. We're looking for recurring. Recurring. Question 6. Which Australian supermodel appeared on 5 episodes of the TV sitcom Friends in 1999? That would be Elle McPherson. Question 7. Which of the following has the longest tongue of any animal? The blue whale or the giraffe? Both known for the length of their tongues. The longest tongue of any animal belongs to the blue whale. There you go. After question 7, we do the first clues for the Who Am I for the episode. Here we go. Who am I? I was born in 1940 in Lucknow in what was then British India, and my birth name is Harry Roger Webb. I rose to fame in the late 1950s, backed by a group called the Shadows, becoming one of the first major rock and roll stars in the United Kingdom. Now, for some of you, that is easy peasy. Harry Webb, Shadows. Some of you will know it already, and some of you will not, and that's okay. There's more clues coming up after question 14 if you don't know. Question 8. Which Indian cricketer who retired in 2013 is the only player in history to have played 200 test matches? To a lot of Indian people, he is the god of cricket. He is Sachin Tendulkar. 200 tests, that's a lot of tests. Question 9. Which 2 words in Cantonese refer to the custom of eating small servings of different foods, often while sipping Chinese tea? Yum cha. Question 10. Which global pizza company evolved from a partnership between 2 brothers in Michigan in the early 1960s? That is Dominoes. Dominoes pizzas began in Michigan in the early 1960s. Fun fact. In 1968, one of those brothers gave up his share of the business for a second-hand Volkswagen. I wonder if he regretted that. He may well have. Question 11 is another true or false. True or false? In 2013, the Vatican recalled a limited edition coin set that was issued to commemorate the first anniversary of Pope Francis's first year as Pope because there was a typo on the coins whereby Jesus was spelt Lesus with an L. Is that true? Is that false? You'd have to think surely someone is proofing that, right? Yeah, no, wrong. That's actually true. That really happened. And you know what? These things happen sometimes. There was an Australian banknote where the word responsibility was spelt incorrectly, and they printed tens of thousands of those and just let it ride. They fixed it on the next print run, but those notes weren't withdrawn. They just went, what are you going to do? It's a tiny typo. Question 12. Which famous brand of vacuum cleaner was also the surname of the first director of the FBI? That would be Hoover, as in J. Edgar Hoover, who was the first director of the FBI. He was the fifth director of what they called the BI. Originally, the FBI was the Bureau of Investigations. That was all, no F. But then they added the federal, and he became the first director of that, if you follow where I've gone there. Question 13. We're talking large sharks. Is the average size of an adult great white shark between 4 and 5 meters or 6 and 7 meters? It's 4 and 5 meters, which is quite big enough. Thank you very much. Question 14. While we're in nature, let's talk about this. Which gender of crickets do not chirp? A, the boys, B, the girls, or C, they both chirp? That would be B. Just the female crickets do the chirping. The guys just sit there very quietly. They've learned not to say anything. More clues now for the Who Am I? It is the singer Harry Webb with The Shadows, Let's Go, Who Am I? My early hits include Move It, which is often cited as one of the first authentic British rock and roll songs. Over my career, I've had #1 singles across multiple decades, giving me one of the longest chart spans in pop music history. I sang Devil Woman in the 70s and Wired for Sound in the 80s. Remember that video clip? He had headphones on, roller skates, I seem to remember. Dearie me, it was in and of its time, wasn't it? More clues after question 20 if you still don't know who that is. Question 15. Which American actor played the same character in the TV series Police Squad and the Naked Gun movies? That's Leslie Nielsen. He was a very funny man. The way he delivered a line, he was great. Question 16. Which 9-lettered C word means a confusing and difficult problem or question? This question is quite the conundrum, and so is the answer. See what I did there? Conundrum. Question 17. What kind of animal is the cartoon character Curious George? Curious George was a monkey. There's been quite a lot of animal content in this show, and here's some more. Question 18. In the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial, what was the name of the family's dog? Was it Harvey? Was it Murray? Was it Tiger? Now, all three of those are the names of TV or movie dogs. Tiger was the dog that belonged to the Brady Bunch. Murray was the dog that Jamie and Paul had in the TV show Mad About You. But Harvey is the answer to this question. That's the name of the family dog in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Terrestrial is hard to say. Question 19 in this podcast is always still alive or not so much. I give you a name. You tell me if you think that person is still alive or not so much. Today, Bobby McPherson. Remember him? He had a hit in 1988 with Don't Worry, Be Happy. Is Bobby McPherson still alive or not so much? Bobby McPherson, he's still alive. He's only 76. Now, there is a myth that he died, and that is just not true, okay? Good. Look it up if you don't believe me, but he's still alive. Or at least he was on the 6th of May when I recorded this episode. Good-o. Question 20, kinda sorta a music question, although some people would argue that what I'm about to ask you about is not proper music at all. Question 20, what 7-letter word loosely means empty orchestra in Japanese? That's karaoke. Now, I've got to tell you, I haven't sung a lot of karaoke in my life, but each time that I have, there may have been alcohol involved. I may have had a drink or two. My karaoke song is Copacabana by Barry Manilow. I like to sing it ironically. I've also sung The Devil Went Down to Georgia a couple of times. Do you have a karaoke song? Let me know what it is. Send it to me. I'd love to know. Actually, you know what? If I get some good ones, I will read out I'll let everyone else know what your karaoke song is. Send them to me. That'll be fun. Mike@triviatribe.com.au. Let's get to know each other. That'll be cool. Final clues now for the Who Am I? Who am I? I'm also well known for a series of hugely successful Christmas songs, including Mistletoe and Wine in 1988 and Millennium Prayer in 1999. That was a UK Christmas #1 set to the tune of Auld Lang Syne. I was knighted for my services to music and charity, becoming Sir in 1995, and I am forever associated with the TV show The Young Ones. I am Sir Cliff Richard. Delightful. Good on you, Cliff. Alrighty, that is 21 questions done. We move now to the player questions. If you've just joined us for the first time today, where have you been? I've done 48 other episodes. You're jumping in now? Come on. I'm just kidding. You're very welcome. Hi, glad you're here. Go back and listen to the earlier episodes. Now, I will always say, if you're going to listen to these episodes, the back catalogue, it's a choose-your-own-adventure thing. You can start from the most recent one and work backwards, and you'll hear the show get less good. Or you can start at episode 1 and hear a very nervous me floundering my way through the early episodes. That's okay. It's a work in progress. Anyway, my point is, at the end of each episode, we do player questions where I invite you, the listener, to submit a trivia question. I'll ask the group. It's just a way of finding out what people are interested in. And last episode, Dean from Kalanga sent in, who was the shortest serving Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? Now, Dean very helpfully provided me with the answer, but I remembered this lady. It was poor old Liz Truss. She was Prime Minister for just 49 days, only a few years ago, back in 2022. Great question, Dean. Thank you very much. This episode, Sue from Birkdale. Hello, Sue. Thank you for your question. Sue sent me, what nationality was Sir Edmund Hillary? He, of course, being the first person to summit Mount Everest. Thank you, Sue. Great question. We will do that answer next episode. Now, speaking of next episode, we're doing a thing. We're doing a thing for episode 50. I've been planning this for a long time, and you have all got on board. It's awesome. Next episode will be entirely made up of questions submitted by you, the listeners. I have more than enough questions. We're ready to go. I've assembled them all. The way it's going to work, I'm going to give you a shout out for supplying me a question. I'm going to read out the question. I'm going to do the answer. Going to move on to the next one. It's going to be fascinating to see what questions you have chosen for me to ask the group. Thank you very much to anyone that has submitted a question. That'll be an ongoing thing. I'm up to about question 80, episode 80, I think. So I've got a few in the bank, but you can still send me one if you want to. It's mike@triviatribe.com.au, or if you want, you can send me a message via Facebook, the 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe Facebook page. Alrighty, that brings us to the end of episode 49, episode 50 coming at you. This is going to be fun. Thank you very much for listening. This podcast comes out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I would love it if you could leave a review on the show or on the podcast app that you're listening to. I haven't been asking people to do that. I've since found out it's very important. So if you'd like to support the show, that's an easy way you can do that. It'll only take you a second, and I would be very grateful. Thank you very much for listening. Let's get together in a couple of days and do it all again. I've been Mike van Acker. I love you. Catch you next time.